Welcome one, welcome all to DeFi Crypto and Airdrops. I am Mike, aka Veteran Crypto, and I am flying solo tonight. My buddy Jeff, that's usually with me, my co-host. He is with his brother at a music festival, so he's not going to be making it. So with that, I'm taking this opportunity to give a in-depth, like thorough tutorial on Aerodrome, an updated one, because a lot of things have changed since I did one last time. And so I want to make sure that everyone out there, that like probably 80% of the questions that I get asked about platforms and protocols is almost always about Aerodrome. And a lot of it has to do with locks and rewards and things like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. But if you could, this is our official YouTube channel. If you're watching on X, if you could please, if you're into DeFi or you want to learn about DeFi, about airdrops, or just crypto in general, give us a follow. Give us a like. We're doing this 100% for free. We don't do sponsors. We don't do anything else. We just enjoy and we're very passionate about teaching people about this stuff because we know how complicated it is. And we've I've lost money because my journey of trying to figure things out, of how to send things to a wallet and how to use a wallet, and it's we've all done it. We've all lost money doing it. So you know me and Jeff come here Mondays and Saturdays, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then I drop videos throughout the week, just anytime I have good information. So, again, give us a follow. So, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this. So, Aerodrome. So, first off, Aerodrome is a decentralized exchange, or a DEX, and it's a liquidity layer that's built on the base network. Base network is a layer 2 built on Ethereum. What it allows is it allows lower gas fees. So whenever you're doing DeFi and you're depositing liquidity into a pool so that you can earn yield, you have to initiate a series of transactions. And on Ethereum, if you use the Ethereum mainnet, depending on how busy the network is, it can be very expensive. I mean, I've seen it where it's a couple $100 at times. It's gotten a lot better since then. But base, most of the time it's a fraction of a cent. It's like 0.001. So it's super cheap, super easy to use. Anybody that's new to DeFi, I almost always point them to Aerodrome first. It is just the most user friendly. If you have a Coinbase account and you have a Coinbase wallet, it integrates perfectly with Aerodrome. Super easy, super simple. Nick Dunn, good afternoon, brother. Appreciate you showing up. Deadwood, and I know you're busy as hell. I appreciate you taking the time. If you guys have any questions out there, please let me know. On X, and unless that you have a blue check mark, you're not going to be able to ask questions. You're going to have to come over to YouTube and ask questions over here. So without further ado, so this is just a couple of highlights that I found before I went live on Aerodrome. So basically, Aerodrome, the highest volume increase ever. All-time volume soars past 200 billion. Flashbacks or flash blocks is coming, which is instead of a couple of seconds for transactions to go through, it's going to be milliseconds. So a much faster transaction times. Aerodrome dominates the Coinbase wrapped ETH and Coinbase wrapped Bitcoin, and I'll show you that here in a second. Record breaking increase in fees. Fees is how we earn. So when you're providing liquidity, you want to see volume and you want to see fees. That's how you earn. PGF acquires and locks 2.1 million AERO. So basically, that's 2.1 million AERO that has been taken out of circulation, and that happens weekly. So anything that's not paid out to veAERO holders, and I'll get into the details of that here in a minute. Those of us that do locks, though, we get paid out for locking tokens and voting. Anything that isn't paid out to people that have locks is max locked for 4 years by the protocol. So it takes them out of circulation for the next 4 years. So, it keeps the circulating supply down. Very bullish. So right here, Aerodrome dominates ETH and Bitcoin trading. In 2025, Aerodrome has captured over 13x the trading volume of Uniswap on the top ETH Bitcoin pair on Base, surpassing 14 billion in volume year to date. So on Base Network, I want to make sure I specify that. On Base Network, ETH and Bitcoin, Aerodrome is, as you can see here, Slipstream versus Uniswap, 14.1 billion in volume, whereas Uniswap for Coinbase wrapped Bitcoin and Coinbase wrapped ETH is only 1.1 billion. So Aerodrome is killing it when it comes to wrapped Bitcoin and wrapped ETH. Let's see. Number one Bitcoin pool as Bitcoin breaks all-time highs. Let's see. So Base, you can see, Base has 100 million. Second is mainnet on Uniswap, and then you can see it. I don't have to explain it. This is something I'm going to have to look into. So Aerodrome, I guess this Mellow is an automated liquidity manager. I just saw this before I went live, so I apologize. I'm not going to be able to do a deep dive into it, but I'm very curious. Today, Automated Liquidity Manager V2 by Mello is available on Aerodrome, optimizing liquidity management with enhanced security, streamlined rewards, and dynamic parameters. It's like, again, I'm going to do some research in it and I'll bring that to you. This is something that I'm going to get into here in a minute. Hey, what up, Seth? I appreciate you showing up, man. So, stay up to date on bonus updates and more. Visit the Flight School dashboard. So, this is the one that I'm always using and showing here. It's this. It's I'm trying to think of a way I could share this, but basically, it's Dune Analytics. So, Dune.com /x underscore Drome underscore analytics / veAERO rewards program. If you know how to use Dune Analytics, you can probably find this. It has all of the analytics on the flight school and flight school bonus. It has what's being paid out, all those sorts of things. So something that's definitely I would suggest looking at before you do any sort of locks that would qualify, and I'll get into those details here in a minute, for the flight school bonus. All right, so on flight school, now it's important to understand the epochs. So on Aerodrome, the epochs are every 7 days. It ends on Wednesday evening, and that is when the rewards are paid out on the locks on veAERO if you voted. However, the flight school pays out differently. Every 4 weeks, the flight school is paid out. And again, I'm going to get into the details of this, here in a little bit later. But put a pin in that. So this just came out, 138% flight school lock bonus. So there's some serious rewards that are going to be paid out on the flight school this next payout. Create a new lock of more than 2,500 veAERO. It's equal to or greater than 2,500 Aero. Get veAERO bonus airdrop in your wallet. That's the flight school. Vote each epoch to share in total rewards. You can either vote manually, and again, I'm going to get into this, or you can put it in a veAERO Maxi relay and they'll vote for you and you don't even have to worry about it. Again, I'll get into that here in a minute. 53% jump in voting rewards. Aerodrome voting rewards soar. Epoch 90 saw voting rewards climb to 4.38 million, a 53% move from the prior epoch, marking the highest weekly increase in 2025. These are the kinds of things that you want to see on a protocol or a project. You want to see TVL going up, you want to see volume going up, you want to see new listings, new pools, you want to see, payouts going up. All of those things are what show a thriving and growing, ecosystem. If you start to see those things starting to shrink, that's cause for concern. All right. So that's all I got for the news on Aerodrome. But as always, I want to highlight DeFi Llama. If you're thinking of getting into DeFi, you need to bookmark DeFi Llama. It has anything and everything analytics that you're going to need to be successful in DeFi. And this, you can see, since the new year, 2024, this is the TVL in all of DeFi and all of the DEX volume. And you can see that we are starting to pump again. In what was it, January timeframe, we were seeing, super high DEX volumes, and I was earning like crazy. We dipped down, and then we've been climbing back up. So, again, that's the kind of thing you want to see if you're going to be deploying new assets and, looking for new pools. RWA.xyz, if you're into RWAs, Ondo, Plume, anything like that, tokenizing, anything to do with private credit, US treasuries, commodities, stocks, bonds, real estate, art, any of that. I have my cousin. He owns a one of those container ships. Those massive container ships that haul shipping containers. He's looking at tokenizing that so that he can get investors to buy into it so that he can buy another vessel. And I told him about Plume and the Arc. They're offering Arc, which allows what used to take months and a lot of money. You're going to be able to tokenize real world assets in a matter of minutes. So that's coming as soon as Plume launches. But I won't go down that rabbit trail. All right. So I'm going to give you a quick overview. I like to be very transparent about my portfolio and the pools that I'm in. You know, if you're going to listen to somebody tell you about DeFi, you probably want to, know if they're successful or not. So, Beefy, these are my two positions on Beefy. I have $1,000 in a wrapped AVAX USDC. I've made 40 bucks. My profit and loss, I'm down $53 because, everything went down. AVAX and the markets went down. Almost always do on Fridays. Sonic USDC. I'm down 47 bucks on that, but I've made $8.45. It hasn't been earning a ton, but that's those. Let's see. So here's my VFAT positions. You can see I got this is one of my full range AERO positions. I've made $100 off that one. Um, everything's slow on the weekend, so the APRs are down and everything. This is one that I am doing a test on. I just put 20 bucks in it. It's a ETH USDC pair. I just like again looking to do some trying to pull some data to see how well it's going to earn before I go in deeper. My wrapped ETH USDC is back out of range again, just barely, but just the 4 days that it was in range, I made 120 bucks. So not bad for 4 days on $4,000. My other full range, I've made $44.81 on that one, and this wrapped ETH Kita, I actually harvested that this morning, and I want to say it was 140 bucks. I've been posting it in the Discord. my earnings, and I'm earning about 4% a day. This one has been really, really producing very, very well. I haven't seen it drop below about 1,300% APR. So yeah, this one for having six only $600 in it, I've been earning like $20 to $40 a day on it. So it's a little bit risky, but again, I didn't go deep on it. I'm just looking to earn some quick yield so I can open some more pools before the markets take off. All right, here's my Uniswap pools. Here's that one that was I told you I was doing a test on $20. I wanted to see this 21% paid out in Uni token, and you can see I'm earning the Uni token up here. So I'm kind of farming a little bit. And then I got my full range plume position and my wide range, 15 cents to 25 cents. I started out with $1,500 in plume. And as you can see, I have like 4,500 at one point before, the market took a dip yesterday. I had almost $5,000 in plume. And again, I started with 1,500. I've just been compounding it back in, and I've built a very nice bag of plume. I'm very, very happy with my plume holdings. And it hasn't even gone up yet. I mean, it's been in the 15 to 20 cent range since it launched pretty much. At one point it went up to 20 cents. But if this thing takes off, I'm going to be sitting pretty. And plume is I'm very bullish on. All right. So enough of that. Without further ado, here is Aerodrome. So, Aerodrome is the core features is it's actually built on the veLodrome model or the Optimism stack. It's designed for efficient swapping, deep liquidity, and high rewards. It uses veERO or voting arrow. It's a basically a an escrow token. Whenever you lock, if you lock arrow, you get veERO, which is voting arrow, to drive emissions and governance. And again, you use that VE arrow to vote. Yeah, Seth, I highly suggest you look into Plume. Plume is I cannot stress enough. I mean, they're working with Ondo, they're working with a bunch of people, and it's not in competition. They are augmenting the functionality of projects like Ondo with native KYC, native what's the word I'm looking for? Like government compliance. They have so anytime that you do anything as far as tokenization, it's going to ensure automatically that it's in compliance. So when you KYC, me myself, I'm in the US. If I'm going to, buy or tokenize something or, whatever, it's will only allow me to do that if it doesn't violate any US laws. Same in the UK, same, wherever else. That is going to be key. And so, having all of that, plus I saw something, I need to double check it, but Cardano and Plume are the only two that I've seen so far, and again, that I've seen so far, that are going to have native Bitcoin on chain. So very bullish on that as well. I'm not even going to try to say your name, Jim. I'm just going to call you Jim. But welcome. All right. So, Aerodrome. This is where you come. You can connect. I'll connect my Coinbase wallet. All right. So I'm connected. Now, right off the bat, you have your dashboard. So you can see this is where I have one of my full range USDC AERO liquidity pools. I have $2,671 deposited. I can expand it. You can see the APR that I am earning. You can see that I'm staked. So after you deposit liquidity into a liquidity pool on AERO, I would suggest that you stake it. If you do not stake it and you are just earning the rewards of the two assets, like over here, USDC and Arrow, if you don't stake it, you're going to earn just like you do on Uniswap the two assets that are in the pool. So in this case, it's USDC and Arrow. However, you have to pay a 10% fee to veAERO holders for not staking. You need to understand that. So I suggest that you stake. You'll get paid out in just Arrow, no matter what the liquidity pool is. It doesn't matter if it's ETH and Bitcoin. It doesn't matter if it's Bitcoin and USDC. If you stake, you're going to earn nothing but Arrow. Again, important to know. So that this is basically my positions. You can see, here's my locks. And okay, next tab is swap. Just like anything else. Just like if you go to Uniswap, just like if you go to any other DEX, you can swap one asset for another. This is how they generate the fees that we're getting paid out for providing liquidity. So, in this case, if somebody is swapping ETH for Arrow, it's going to be tapping into the ETH Arrow liquidity pool. So, if you think that there's going to be a lot of people wanting to swap from a certain asset to another asset, it might be a good idea to deposit liquidity into that pool. If there's going to be a lot of volume, if it's a new token, if it's if you want to do like a small meme position or something like that, because a certain meme is hot and people are trying to swap for it, that's how you're going to earn fees. So it's important to understand how these platforms work and how they're generating the fees that are paying you out. Because if the ecosystem isn't able to support itself, potentially that it can crash. The whole thing can crash, like a house of cards. Anybody that has liquidity, parked on the protocol, you can lose it. I mean, it's happened before. It was Celsius. Celsius went down, and everybody that had liquidity on there lost it. They're getting paid out, but at a much lower rate than what they had before. So anyway, that's a very basic function of Aerodrome. Next, liquidity. This is where you find the pools, to where you can deposit liquidity into the pools to earn fees. So you can go down here, it shows you, all the different pools. You can sort. If I want to sort by volume, I can, do lowest to highest, highest to lowest, whatever. Wrapped ETH USDC. This, I have had that wrapped ETH USDC position that I showed you that I was a little bit out of range since I started DeFi like 7 months ago. And I've more than made my money back on it. I started out with like 9 grand in there, and I've made like 15 grand or something, off of that thing. Just because, I mean, it's just such a beast. You have, $690 million in volume, and it's generating $286,000 in fees that are getting paid out to people like me and you. Um, and I mean, this APR is not correct. It's not 3,433. Aerodrome needs to do some work on their APRs. So anyway, this is where you can come and you can find whatever liquidity pool you want. Over here you can copy and paste a pool address, or you can put a symbol. Like say that I only want to do a Bitcoin, I can put BTC, and it will show me anything that has BTC in it. Coinbase wrap Bitcoin, and Arrow Bitcoin, Bitcoin, whatever L Bitcoin is. But you can see that you just find a pool that you like. Of course, you can come to these, and you can do basic, you can do concentrated liquidity. Basic, what that means is it's usually a full range position. So that means that it doesn't matter if the price of the assets go to zero or if they pump to Valhalla. you're going to be earning fees. You're just going to get a lower APR. If you do a concentrated, then that is a concentrated liquidity pool. In that, you're going to pick a price range that you are going to provide liquidity for. And as long as it's within that range, you're going to earn fees, much higher APR than a full range position. If it goes up in the range, then it's going to sell one asset and buy the other. And if it goes out of range, out of the top, you're going to stop earning fees unless you rebalance. Same if it goes out of range towards the downside. It's going to do the reverse. It's going to sell one asset into the other. If it goes out the bottom, you either have to rebalance or wait for it to come back into range and start earning fees again. I'm a huge fan of, a couple of ranged positions, but most of my positions are full range. I want that guaranteed monthly income. And it's been treating me really, really well. You can pick, stable or volatile assets. Incentivized means that uh, on Aerodrome, people can do bribes. So, say it's a new token, the project wants to incentivize people to provide liquidity for it. They can inject, 10, 20, $30,000 or more, as far as bribes to get people that have locked tokens or locked arrow to vote for their pool to get, the most emissions. And so they're basically bribing the people that vote to vote for their pool to, get people to use it. And then it looks like this is that ALM, that automated liquidity manager. So I'm gonna have to do some research on that. That's new. So I apologize for not being knowledgeable on that ahead of time. All right. So next up is vote, if it wants to do it. All right. What the hell? So this is if you don't. Actually, let me go here first. So as you can see, this is my locks. Is I did a test lock here of just one arrow, just so you could see what it looked like if it wasn't in a relay. And this it has changed. So I want to. I'll loop back to it, but you can increase your position. So like if you want to lock more into an already locked, uh, a lock that you already have, you can increase it. If it has unlocked, like say you did it for a week or a month or 2 months, you can extend it, to, and, basically relock it. You can merge it with another lock or you can transfer it. So, um, that just, let you know that there's some different things you can do. Now, my locks, I deposited into this veAERO Maxi Relay that votes for me automatically each week. And I'll get into why that's important here in a minute. But you can see this lock that I did, this I actually started with 5100 arrow, which at the time was 2500 bucks. You can see, because of my earnings, my almost 1600 arrow worth of earnings, my initial lock is now worth 4,000. So, I mean, you can see I'm making some good money on my lock. Now, on top of that, because I locked more than 2,500 arrow, I got this additional lock as an airdrop for free. So this is the flight school bonus. And it varies on how much it is. At the time, I deposited 5,100. The airdrop that I got was 2,600 of free arrow, 100% free for locking more than 2,500 arrow. It's an incentive to get people to take more arrow out of circulation and secure the network. Now, both of these are earning weekly compound interest. So each week I'm getting paid out and I'll show you. I actually track it. So this is how it's gone. Is I started tracking it in December. I had earned 549. A week later, I had 646. A week later, I had 735. And you can see It's increased every week. It's increased to where now I have 2,315 free arrow on top of the 2,600 in the flight school bonus. So I've gotten what, almost 5,000 free arrow just for locking 100 arrow. I hope, yes, and I'll get into that. And because I got the 1.25 x, not percent, a 1.25x boost on my flight school bonus from locking it for putting my lock into the VE Aero Maxi Relay, and I'll get into that. Thank you for bringing that up. All right, so back to here. So you can put it into any one of these. I put it in the VE Aero Maxi Relay to get that 1.25x boost to my flight school bonus. And again, I want to get as much arrow as I can because I've done the math, and by the time these locks unlock in about 3.5 years, I'm going to have 75,000 arrow just in these locks. This is my long-term arrow bag, my moon bag, because if arrow even gets to $10, that's going to be worth $750,000. If it just gets to $10 in the next bull run, between now and the next bull run, I potentially am going to have 750K for depositing at the time, less than, or about 2,500 bucks. Not a bad return on investment. And that shows you the power of weekly, or just compounding interest in general. Again, this is why I'm so bullish on Arrow. And there's other projects out there that do similar stuff. All right. So, I wanted to show you the lock so that you understand this voting. So, if you don't put it in a relay, like in that veAERO Maxi relay, then every week you have to come in here and manually vote, or you will not get your weekly payout. So you have to come in here and you have to vote for, you have to select which one of these liquidity pools you feel should get the most emissions. It's as simple as that. All of the arrow that they're paying out, um, you know, to these liquidity pools, you're voting on who gets the majority of it. It's as simple as that. I didn't want to have to deal with coming in here every week and voting, so I just put it in the veAERO Maxi Relay. They do it for me, and it's just automated moneymaker. It's just freaking prints me money every week. If you want to vote, go ahead. But that's what voting is. And you can see this is the incentives. So these are the bribes I was talking about, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Say that this, FAI, wanted to incentivize people to vote for their pool. They could add incentives here to boost the reward for voting for that pool. Pretty simple. Um, and then here's the incentivize tab. Token that you want to incentivize. You can pick it. KTA, token you want to pair it with, Arrow, and then you can do concentrated pools, basic pools. Again, this is just a way that you can incentivize, people to vote for certain pools. Pretty straightforward. All right. So let me see if there's any questions before I continue. This makes sense too. Very similar to Shadow Decks on Sonic. Yes, it is. They have the X33, I believe, is their voting token, if memory serves. I've used it a little bit, but not to the extent of Aerodrome. But you are correct. Pretty much every Dex has their native token, and they have incentive programs like this. So, veAERO Maxi is not taxable. I would guess so because it's locked. So the fact that you can't cash it out, it might not be a taxable event. Talk to your tax professional on that. All right. So let me see where we're at. How to earn. Basically, the way that you earn is providing liquidity. We've gone over that. The lock, when you lock Arrow, you get veAERO to vote. We went over that. We went over bribes, boosted APR on your positions, vote to direct emissions. We went over that. Flight school bonuses. All right. So this is the flight school bonus. Again, I cannot stress this enough. Do a screenshot of this, save it, do something. It's look at the you know, well, I guess you guys can't see it. The go to Dune.com, Dune Analytics, and look this up. So I'm just going to read this. Lock Arrow, get a bonus. Lock 2,500 Arrow. It has to be 2,500 or more to qualify. Every 4 weeks, bonus veAERO will be distributed pro rata to all users and protocols with new locks and increased locks of 2,500 veAERO or more to a single NFT. So you can't lock 1,200 in one or 1,250 in one, 1,250 in another, and then get a airdrop on both. Not sure why you'd want to try to do that, but it doesn't work like that. It needs to be 2,500 or more in a single lock. Now, if you say you locked 2,000 and you didn't know about the flight school bonus, as long as it's within the same 4 weeks, as long as flight school hasn't ended and a new flight school hasn't started, you can still plus that one up. So if you deposited 2,000, you can add another 500 before that 4-week period ends, and you will still qualify for the flight school bonus. So if anybody out there, if you've deposited, less than 2,500 Arrow, you can still, as long as the flight school hasn't ended for that period, you can plus that position up, and you'll still get the flight school bonus. I just want to make sure that you understand that, because that actually changed recently, because I do not believe that's how it was initially. There are several ways. Now, this is what Jim was talking about with the 1.25x multiplier. There are several ways to increase your share of the bonus pool. The following boosts apply to veAERO locks and their weighted value, not the bonus itself. So it treats your like in this case 2,500. For example, a 2,500 veAERO lock with a 1.25x boost is treated as if it were 3,125 when the flight school bonus is calculated. So I hope that makes sense. Basically you're getting 1.25, like a plus up of whatever you locked, and that is what they're paying out. Now you're not going to, have that. Like if you put 2,500 in, they're not going to plus you up to 3,125 and give you the flight school bonus. The flight school bonus is going to be calculated off of that higher amount, so that you're just going to get a larger flight school bonus. I hope that makes sense. All right. So it has to be, you have to put your lock in the veAERO Maxi relay. That is how you get the 1.25x. Now, this one I haven't done. New protocols and qualifying funds. You can get a 1.25x boost for first 5 flight school distributions. Or if you have a Coinbase One account, you can go on Coinbase, and there's a way that you can validate your wallet address or your wallet, and you can get a 1.3x boost for Coinbase One members. If a lock qualifies for multiple boosts, only the largest will apply. You cannot stack the boosts. So if you do a veAERO Maxi Relay and you have a Coinbase One account, you're not going to get a 2.5, a 2.55x boost. You'll just get the 1.3. So, again, make sure you understand that. And then, of course, there's a bunch of other analytics here, showing the cumulative veAERO distributed. So this is the amount of veAERO. It's, continually going up because more and more people are catching on to this and locking. Historical flight school veAERO distributions. It's it's leveled out pretty good. As far as what they're paying out, for flight school bonuses, and then some other analytics that you can look at. But this is what's important is, how the flight school works. And I've posted this in our Discord if you're interested. It's the Discover Crypto Discord. It's a DeFi Den is where I'm usually at, and I'll answer questions if anybody has DeFi questions. Also, reach out to me on X. Anybody that has talked with me or that knows me from all the morning shows and stuff. I'm more than happy to help people out. I'll never ask you for access to your wallet. I'll never ask you to send me anything. I just if you have a question, ask it. More than happy to help. I know what it's like. I was trying to learn DeFi and I could not find anywhere to learn it. Not that made sense. I found a bunch of people that were talking about DeFi on such a high level that I was like, what? They're fucking talking Greek. I have no idea what they're saying. So that's what inspired me to start this channel to try to make this just simple fucking stupid for people like me that I'm just an old retired vet that homesteads in the woods, and I want to augment my income. I want to use my crypto to earn yield and augment my income. So I figured why not share my experience, the mistakes that I make, everything. That's why I'm totally transparent with my portfolio. If I make a stupid call and I get into a pool and I lose money, I want you to know about it. I'm not here, again, I'm not making money off of this. I want you to be successful. Um, you know, I'm not going to hype, some project or some pool. I'm not going to, push you in one way or another. I just want to teach you the fundamentals so that you can invest smartly. So that is the flight school. Trying to think if there's anything else. So again, the veAERO Maxi Relay. Let's go back to that. Like I said, I highly suggest that you lock your your or deposit your lock into the veAERO Maxi Relay so that you get the flight school bonus. Kind of a no-brainer. It also makes it to where you don't have to vote manually. The veAERO Maxi Relay votes for you, and they don't take possession of your arrow. They don't take possession of your lock. You still own it. The NFT is still in your wallet. Um, you're just delegating your voting power to them. So, all of my veAERO, in this case, about 10,000 veAERO, I'm delegating to this relay to where they can vote on my behalf. That's all it is. Um, so the risks of using a DEX or Aerodrome specifically. There are smart contract risks. So, be careful what you're clicking on. Be careful what you're signing. Whenever you're, authorizing things in your wallet, make sure that you're reading all the pop-ups. What the fees that are being charged. All those different things. Arrow price volatility. If you're earning Arrow as emissions, it's it's been as high as $2.20. We're currently sitting in the 60-cent range. So right now, in my opinion, is a great time to be stacking Arrow. But a lot of the Arrow that I stacked at $2.20 went down in value. But again, I'm always harvesting my Arrow, and some of it I'm converting into other assets to open up new pools, new liquidity pools. I started with $15,000 in my DeFi portfolio. And since then, even with the markets being down, I have $25,000. If the markets go back up to where they, have been recently back in, January, December timeframe, I'll actually have about 75,000 to $80,000 off of starting with 15,000. And this, in my opinion, is a lot easier and a lot steadier earning than trading. Trading, yes, you can make 20, 30, 40, 50% with a couple of pumps of some candles, but you can lose it as well. With this, you can use lending and full range positions and just earn steady income. And, really there's not a whole lot of risk of loss, other than if the asset goes to zero. But if you only invest in assets that you believe in, ETH, Bitcoin, Arrow, whatever, projects that you're bullish on, have good fundamentals or whatever, then it's a pretty safe bet. I mean, if you're going to hodl an asset, why not earn on it? Instead of just having it sit in your wallet, at least put a portion, put 20% like I did. I took 20% of my portfolio, my hodl portfolio, and I put it into DeFi. And since then, now my DeFi portfolio is much fatter than my hodl portfolio. So, and I'm still kind of hodling assets like Plume. I started with 1,500 bucks and that was emissions from my AERO pools. I had $1,500 that was free money. So I went into a Plume pool, and that Plume pool has plussed up to $5,000 worth of Plume now. And I might start harvesting some of that and convert it into something else and open up other pools. That's the beauty of yield farming, and that's why we call it yield farming. Is you're taking these seeds, the fruit from these pools, and you're planting it in new pools, and those pools produce fruit that you can harvest and use to make more pools, or plus up others that are producing well for you. Hey, this is recorded. EJ too much. This is recorded. Watch it as many times as you want. I actually on our channel on YouTube, I have a DeFi Academy. This is episode 5 and that I've done so far. And episode 1 was the basics of DeFi. What is DeFi? How does DeFi work? The second one was wallets. Each episode is going to build on the previous one. If actually I made it even easier, if you watch the first one, at the end, it will give you the option to just go right into episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, and then into episode 5. So if you're curious, and I'm gonna be doing a bunch of these. So, by all means, follow us. Um, if you guys are interested, I'll share my tracker sheets. So these are some tracking sheets that I got off of somebody, and I've been modifying them. So this one here is my bull run. So this is my hodl, my hodl portfolio, and what the current value is. So all of this is automated. So you can see here that it's pulling this from a website. The arrow, current arrow price is 60 cents. So the amount of arrow that I have $13,200 worth of arrow. And it shows the distribution of my portfolio as well. And then I also have my ladder out strategy. So I have the, all my, different assets, how many tokens I have, and then I just plugged in the percentage that I want to sell off in different steps. And then what price point I want to sell those off, at. And it automatically computes, okay, if Casper hits 10 cents, I want to sell 10% of my tokens. 10% of my tokens is 71,000 tokens, and at 10 cents that will be worth $7,100. And so if I hit all of my, price points, if, Casper gets to 50 cents and I'm able to execute on each of my ladder out positions, then I'll have 177,500. Excuse me. Too much talking. And you can see I'm keeping 10% as, hodl, because 30% plus 10%, plus 20 plus 20 plus 10 only equals 90. I'm going to long term hold some of my Casper. But if I hit all of my, you know, positions, all the places that I want to sell, I'm going to end up with 500 and basically $82,000, which it's going to be all in stable coins and some Bitcoin. And I'm going to have that in DeFi positions, earning 10, 20, 30%, while I wait for the markets to crash and for us to go into the bear market. Once I feel like that we're, getting towards the bottom of the bear market, I'll start deploying all that dry powder and everything that I've earned in the meantime into whatever I want to buy. If there's new projects, if I want to buy Bitcoin, if it dips down to like in the, the 90,000 range or something like that, maybe I'll buy a bunch of Bitcoin. Whatever. That's how I'm going to redeploy my assets. But I'm always going to have a portion of my portfolio in DeFi. It's way too profitable if you do it right, if you do it in a an educated way. Now, this is one of my trackers, and it's kind of messed up right now, but it's just basically one that I've been using to track my overall portfolio and my arrow lock, how much I have in DeFi and how much I actually have deployed into liquidity. So, it's just another tracker, but this is the one that I've really started using. So you can see, I currently have $23,736 in DeFi. From that, I am earning $141 per day. So I'm earning $4,238 a month. Not bad for $24,000 worth of deposits. I'm earning up towards $5,000 a month. Hold on, got an ant. So yeah, I'm earning $4,200 a month off of my DeFi. Not bad off of $24,000. So and again, all of this is populated off of my inputs. So again, my bull run portfolio, I haven't updated it. I actually have like 60 something thousand right now. But if I 5x, if I 10x, this is what I can expect to have in my projected gains. But what that is calculated off of is this. So this is all of my different positions. What I initially deposited, the date that I deposited it, what I initially deposited, what it is currently worth, the fees that I've earned, the APR that I'm currently earning, and then it automatically computes, what my daily APR is, my monthly, my yearly, gives me the price difference with fees and the percent changed, and then gives me some totals on the bottom. So this is just important. If you're doing DeFi, you need to track your positions. You need to understand if you're being profitable or not. A lot of people are worried about impermanent loss. Me personally, I'm not. Um, I don't measure my success in DeFi against if I hodled the asset. Yes, if I sat and hodled the asset, I might make more money if the markets pump before I'm able to earn enough yield to counteract the difference. But it's important to understand that this whole time, like for me personally, this whole time these markets have been, going sideways and down and, all of that, I've been earning yield. So I've been stacking Arrow, I've been stacking Plume, I've been stacking Bitcoin, I've been stacking Sonic, I've been stacking a lot of different things. And so when the markets do pump, all of that yield that I earn pumps as well. And if it's in my wallet and not in a pool, I'm going to get full price appreciation on that. So I'm looking to earn that $4,200 a month or more in monthly income. I don't care if I miss out. It's only a portion of my overall portfolio that I have in DeFi. It's only like 20%. So if I'm still going to get price appreciation. I'm just not going to get as much because it's DCAing me out of, certain assets as it goes up. I'll save that for, another episode. But again, it's important to track your portfolio and your earning. But with that, and then you can do your daily tracking, um, to make sure that you're making progress. You got this one. This is the DeFi income tracker. So this is the one that I plugged in, so that that's how I got to this, is by plugging these numbers in. So this is how much that I invested into these pools. This is what the current value is. This is the APRs that I plugged in earlier. It was actually yesterday. And then it just, based off of those numbers, this is what I'm earning, dollar amount, daily, monthly, yearly. And then I can plug in profits taken if I want. But, you can see here, that's how I got the $141 a day, $4,238 a month, and $50,861 a year. So, and then over here, I have what my income goal is. I want to get to where I'm making $60,000 a year, and because I want to make about $5,000 a month is my goal. Anything above that's gravy, but an extra $5,000 a month ain't too shabby. So that's about all I got for you. Has anybody got any questions on Aerodrome before I cut this off? Let me go through the chat here. Yeah, I'm looking into Plume. Thanks for live talking about AERO. I promise I will get an account. All right. Um, let's see. Hey, better try again. Welcome. Following up on the above, important to note Relay is auto max lock weekly by my understanding. Relay is auto max lock weekly. So I'm not quite sure, Uncle Tommy, what you're meaning, but yes, the rewards that you get each week are compounded back into your lock, and I think that you can cash them out if you want. But I personally, I'm letting it compound. I'm letting it ride. I I want to get to where when I everything unlocks in 4 years, then like I said, I did the calculations. I should have 75,000 arrow, and even at a $10 arrow, that's 750K. And I have plenty of arrow that's not locked that I can sell. If arrow does something spectacular and gets to $10 this bull run, I have enough to where I'll have $100,000 or more worth of arrow. So hello, sorry, what file do you use for this tracking of your portfolio? So they're just tracking sheets that I've tweaked up. I got them from somebody and they did a bunch of the work, and then I've just tweaked them to do what I want them to do. So, all the formulas are already input into all the cells. So you just do the manual inputs, and it auto calculates the rest. And I have these. I I can put these out there like in links and stuff, but it's super bad habit to get into clicking on links. You don't know me. I I I mean, I'm not going to do anything malicious, but you don't know me. I can put a hyperlink out there to where you guys can get to these and you can make a copy of them. But again, it's not a good habit to get into, to be clicking on links. You can people can put malicious shit in links and and steal your crypto. So I did post these in the Discover Crypto Discord. So this is the Discover Crypto Discord, and the DeFi Den is my area of it. And if you hover over it, you can see the DeFi tracking sheets. And all three of my tracking sheets are in there free. If once you pay to get into the Discover Crypto Discord. Um, but you can make copies of them for free. And then I have the DeFi Academy, which is where I drop the lesson plans for each of these episodes that I do. So basically my notes. So if you're somebody that learns better by reading, it's all in here. So, everything from the first lesson, understanding DeFi, lesson 1.1, using hot wallets with Uniswap, lesson 1.2, how to use DeFi Llama and other tools, lesson 1.3, understanding DeFi aggregators like VFAT and Beefy, and then lesson 1.4, understanding DeFi liquidity pool platforms, in this case, Aerodrome. So, I've built out a course. I was a military instructor, and so I built out a course, kind of along those lines to share with you all. But again, you can come to here, and it's all right here in the DeFi Academy. So for free, you can just go, follow us on YouTube. But DeFi Academy, you have episode 1. Again, be the bank and keep the profits. DeFi explained, just like what I just showed you. 2, hot versus cold wallets in DeFi. Episode 3 is the tools, like DeFi Llama. Episode 4, stop wasting gas. DeFi aggregators like Beefy and VFAT. And this one that we're doing right now, Aerodrome Finance explained. So again, I'm trying to make this as user friendly as possible for those of you that want to get into DeFi and want to start earning yield. So, oh, thanks. Can I get the Discord invite? The It's actually on YouTube. If you go to the top up here and go to more, the DIG Discord. So you can click on that, and that will take you to the Discord, and you can get access to that. You have Blockchain Basement is a good channel that you can. This is my X account. If you want to follow me on Twitter, or Jeff, my co-host that's usually here, he's a subject matter expert on airdrops. And then of course, I'm in DeFi. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on X. But with that, if there is no more questions, you're welcome, sir. If there is no more questions, I will cut this off. And until next time, Veteran Crypto out.